she doesn't know her origin. Her family is my guess, and she's going to be connected to the Collins.
Well, surely you don't think there's any connection.
I don't know what to think. All I do know is I've spent most of my life here in the foundling home.
Bingo! Orphan. I am Joel Sharpton, one half of the Articulate Coven podcast, and this is the first episode of my watch of the original Dark Shadows. This video and every video on our channel was made possible by our patrons, including the Queen of the Damned herself, Nancy Ward. This one's for you, Nancy. So I am excited to start a watch of the original Dark Shadows on Amazon Prime Video. That's where I'm watching it anyway. I think it's also maybe available on Peacock. I've never seen this series, but I am a huge fan of soap operas, if I'm being honest with myself and with you. I watched a lot of Days of Our Lives when I was a preteen and teenager. I watched a lot of Dallas, the original series, when I was a child, far too young to watch JR. But my mom and my grandmother and my aunt all loved to hate JR, and so I did too. I am currently rewatching Dallas, actually, the original series right now. I just finished the 5th season, actually, but I'm not doing that anywhere online. I should have done it, probably, in retrospect. I'm excited to get into Dark Shadows, though. I watched the 90s remake, like appointment television at the time. I guess I was like 10, 11 maybe when it came out. And I was a big fan of it. I don't remember much about it. I know that it's like the Collinwood family, or the Collinswood family is the main family. And unlike most soap operas, this family's not rich. They are haunted. They are cursed in many and terrible ways. All right, let's start this thing.
My name is Victoria Winters.
So no S, it's just a single Collinwood, not Collinswood. I do want to remind you, if you are watching this on YouTube, you could have watched this a week earlier on our Patreon, links below in the channel. You also could have watched a fuller version. On Patreon, I'm allowed to cut the video a little freer, and so you'll be able to keep up with the story of the episode even if you're not watching along. Here, I try to give you enough cues so that you can play the episode if you want to alongside me.
People who tonight are still only shadows in my mind, but who will soon fill the days and nights of my tomorrows.
That will soon fill the days and nights of my tomorrows. I mean, I guess that's an artful way. They're gonna be a big problem for her.
Now watch the pot never boil.
I love the orchestration. Like, this is one of the things that I love about soap operas, is that they just wear it on their sleeve. They're going to tell you exactly how to feel.
Don't you think you ought to look in on your son?
The little monster's asleep, and I'm delighted.
That is not how Kelly and I describe it when we're enjoying our after children hours in the evening, although sometimes they are sparse.
Elizabeth, with all our ghosts, we don't need any strangers in this house, and you know it.
Okay. With all our ghosts, we don't need any strangers in this house. They're wearing it on Front Street. Okay, so they don't like the girl that's on her way, or he doesn't like her anyway. She's called her, the madam here has called her to the home for various reasons, it seems. She'll serve nicely. Interesting. I like this dynamic. I mean, it was one of my favorite things about the Ewings. It's my favorite thing about Yellowstone now, is when like somebody that's not actually wanted is there for some reason.
Because I choose to do so.
Oh, come to your
I wonder
senses.
what they want her to do.
Why don't you open the doors and let the whole town come trooping through the house and have done with it?
The girl will stay.
Quick story. My grandmother, she was like 40 when she had my dad. My dad was a little bit older too, so this woman was very old by the time I was even just a child. My mom, one day while my grandmother was away at church, decided to clean out her fridge. She found some very ancient food in there, and yet when grandma came home, she wanders by the kitchen on her way to her bedroom to change clothes. She sees what my mom has been doing, and she gets very angry about it. Mom explained, like, hey, I found like a mustard jar from 84. This is the late 90s at this point. Grandma still goes, why don't you just strike a match and burn the whole damn house down? That's basically, let's just open up the doors, let the whole town in, why don't we?
Inviting problems.
The only problem I've invited is standing before me at this moment. I have asked
Sick
Miss Winters
burn.
to live here, and she'll stay.
Okay, Miss Winters, that was the name at the beginning. Winters is going to be our main character, I'm assuming. Our protagonist, anyway. These two are clearly going to be some of the antagonism. So the only thing I really know about Dark Shadows is that there's a very wealthy family that's got ghosts and curses and whatnot. And I'm fairly certain there's a vampire in it. I remember there being a vampire in the original series. I know he's a main character. I can't remember I think it's Barnaby something, maybe? Ooh. A little From Here to Eternity for us. And again, the soundtrack is dope. All right, good title sequence. I dig it. So again, I do think this show is not only like a vampire show. I think it's got I think it's got ghosts and werewolves and witches and the whole 9 yards. So I'm here for it. This is that guy's somebody. I can't think of his name. Okay, so it's the Collinwood family. Collinsport is the name of the town, obviously named for them as well.
Collinsport is only 50 miles from Bangor.
I see.
Okay, so I'm assuming that there is going to be a secret in this girl's past. She doesn't know. She's not calling this person mother. It's Mrs. So-and-so. So, like, she doesn't know her origin. Her family is my guess. And she's going to be connected to the Collins.
Well, surely you don't think there's any connection.
I don't know what to think. All I do know is I've spent most of my life here in the foundling home.
Bingo! Orphan.
And suddenly I get a letter from a woman I've never seen, living in a place I've never heard of.
I would say it's a great plot for a 60s soap opera. Okay, that actress is somebody too. I can't think of who she is, but I recognize her voice and mannerisms from something. I'll try to look these people up in between episodes, by the way, and share the answers for those queries in episode 2.
After you've been living in a city like New York, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
How are you going to keep them down on the farm after they've seen Gay Perry? All right, dude in the back left is going to get off and follow her. Called it. Camera lingered on him. Soundtrack doesn't like him. A character of interest, if you will. Okay, this is one of my favorite things about soap operas, is the way that they keep the multiple storylines going. Oh, no, they're just going to go back to her. That was just a commercial break. My bad. Thought we were maybe going to follow the dude for a minute. Did she see that the other fella got off? Yeah, okay.
Well, how did they expect anyone to get town?
Unicorn.
Broomsticks and unicorn.
And chauffeured car.
And chauffeured cars.
Can I give you a lift?
I'm Victoria Winters.
All right, Burt Devlin
Welcome to the beginning and the end of the world, Miss Smith.
and Victoria Winters. Victoria Winters sounds very familiar. Maybe I just remember it from Dark Shadows when I was a kid. But okay, I definitely got to figure out who this guy is. The beginning and the end of the world, Miss Winters.
I'm afraid I'm not going that far.
Man, this is so low budget. I love it. I will say, good transfer, Amazon. Like, it's cleaned up pretty good. The audio is great.
You still want a taxi?
How else can I get to Collinwood?
You could take my advice.
And not go.
Get the next bus to
Yeah.
Bangor. You get a train there for New York. Be home by morning.
Did she mention that she's from Bangor? I don't think she did out loud to him anyway.
Oh, yes, Mr. Devlin. We're expecting you.
God, I recognize all these people. I absolutely know this hotel manager.
He runs our taxi.
So what's Bert hiding from? Bert's a real piece of work. God, I love her hairstyle, man. Like the haircut is very nice. The Blue Whale. All right, if this is a normal soap opera, we should get very used to seeing both that hotel lobby, front foyer, whatever, and this restaurant. We're going to be there often, is my guess. We'll probably ride the train a few times, too. This guy's here to buy embryos from Jurassic Park. That's my guess. That's not what he's doing. Everybody recognizes Mr. Devlin. All right, so Devlin's been wronged by the Collins. That'll be the primary thing that this series will be struck on, as my guess. The old Collins Port Inn, where you'll get the name of the manager next episode. I swear, I know this guy too. I've got to look up all these actors' names. This was a very popular soap opera at the time, though, so my guess is that we'll see a lot of familiar faces, actually.
Right, I'm starved.
You are also a jerk.
Beg your pardon.
Jerk. J-E-R.
I don't think the question was spelling it, lady. We knew the word that you meant.
That you're going to work up in Collinwood. That makes you a jerk.
So the townspeople don't like Collinwood either. Man, this is very Dracula coded. Obviously, the opening of Dracula, Harker gets to Romania and tells everybody that he's going to Castle Dracula, and they're like, "Please don't go, Jonathan. I wouldn't if I were you."
They own the biggest cannery, the biggest fishing fleet, and the biggest, darkest, gloomiest old house.
A cannery. Not quite as sexy as oil.
And they're kooks. Every one of them. Because in 2 months, that pretty hair of yours is going to be one glorious shade of gray.
You make it sound like some old English novel with rattling chains, ghosts in the corridors.
You think that's wrong? It would rock you from here all the way back to the railroad station.
Gonna rock me across town with your gossip? All right.
Rather not hear them.
I'd rather not hear that.
Okay. Apple pie in the house, and I won't take no for an answer.
Boy, it's
And
quite
I'll
a
say
turnaround
yes.
from you're a jerk. Here's your rare sandwich. Your hair's not gray yet, lady. You hadn't gotten there yet.
So go out to Long Island, have a ball. But a nowhere place like Collinsport, Maine.
A nowhere place like Collinsport, Maine. You two-bit knucklehead. The mystery has drawn me in. Flashback. She's looking for herself.
Did you say you were looking for something?
Oh,
Did you say you were looking for something? Yeah, she's looking for herself, honey. Okay, so my guess is that the letter said that she's a Collins, a long-lost Collins.
Well, she makes all the important decisions, if that's what you mean. The manager...
Look at the jaw on this one. Good Lord.
Elizabeth hasn't left that hill in 18 years.
Almost like she's locked into the home by supernatural reasons.
Who doesn't know what she's getting into?
Bum, bum, bum. I bet the music does it. That's swelled.
Sure I was, honey. It'll be a ball.
I'm lying. Look at her twisting that napkin in two. This is the cheapest knocker on a door that size I've ever seen. Give it some weight. Come on, prop department. I mean, seriously, it's got to not rattle when you just close the door. It's bad. Now that is ominous music. And the end of the first episode. Okay, I love that they're bite-sized, like 22 minutes long, I think, basically, for each one of these, even with credits. Well, wait a minute. Look, I didn't think about it. Here we go. Joan Bennett. That's Elizabeth Stoddard. Burke Devlin is Mitchell Ryan. I don't know that name. Roger Collins, Lewis Edmonds, Wilbur Strake, Joseph Julian. I don't know that name either. I got to look up where I know these people from. Mrs. Hopewell was Elizabeth Wilson. Maggie Evans was Catherine Lee Scott. None of these are ringing bells. Hotel clerk Conrad Bain, Miss Mitchell, Jane Rose, Catherine Bruce as Sandy, Alfred Hinckley as the train conductor. Yep. Alexandra Moltke as Victoria Winters. All right, there's our first episode of Dark Shadows. I will be back with more, and let me know what you thought of that one. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can get them a week early and with a much looser edit that allows you to kind of get the story just through my video on Patreon. Links below. All right, folks, until next time, I'm Joel from the Articulate Coven.